everyone, and welcome back to today's video. Today we are going to talk about FiveM server hosting, and I'm going to talk about my thoughts about it and then probably answer some questions that people have asked me in a bunch of streams recently on what you should do, what I would recommend, and what it makes sense for you financially. So let's get straight into this one. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe so you can see our future videos. But anyway, let's get straight into this. So the most common question I get is, what is the cheapest way to host my FiveM server? In overall cases, it would be to home host for free, but that's what we showcase in videos on the channel, is us home hosting these servers. But it does have security risks. If you want to allow your friends to join, you have to port forward and give out your IP address. A lot of people don't want to do that. So if you're looking to the second cheapest option, it's going to be Zap hosting. It is the only licensed FiveM game server hosting, which they allow, and we'll go into why that is, and we'll go into how other servers and stuff get around that restriction. But if you're looking for the cheapest, Zap hosting is probably going to be your best bet. So let's go into why they are the only licensed one, and we'll go into what you can do to get around it if you want more of a VPS or dedicated server. So early on, when FiveM was just getting started, a bunch of server hosts just made like game servers that you could order and it auto install and all that good stuff. Unfortunately, FiveM was like, no, they never asked for permission. So Zap hosting became their central business for server hosting. They're the only ones licensed to automatically give you a key when you buy a server on their thing. They're the only ones who can create something that is a license and advertised for FiveM server hosting. You may see other hosts doing this. They are technically not following the TOS of FiveM. But let's go into this a little bit deeper. Why did they do this? Probably because they want money. That's kind of what it comes down to. They're probably getting a kickback from it. They may get mad that I'm saying that, but overall, it's probably the truth. And then the way to get around it, though, is if you want to do a VPS or a dedicated server, you can do that as well, as long as you have root home access to the server. So you cannot be sharing the server with anyone else. You have to have home root access to the main directory of that VPS or dedicated server, so you can prove it is not a shared host that is like reselling another VPS or something. So as long as you have home root access, that is technically allowed. So you can get a VPS from OVH or some other site and install FiveM on it. Though you have to remember, this is going to take a lot more work. It's not going to be easy installer. You can't just throw the files on there and go. You're going to have to port forward. You're going to have to set it up so you have connections. You're going to have to set up the files yourself. It's not a easy click and go type thing. So if you're looking for a click and go type thing, that's going to be Zap hosting for you, and they're going to make the most sense for you. If you're looking for more control over your server, more dedicated resources, you're going to probably look at a VPS. And then if you're looking at even more, if you're a big server, you're planning on having hundreds or thousands of people on, you're going to want something like a dedicated server. They say they start at like $30. When I had them, paid around $150 a month to make sense off running those. And it's all your stats are going to depend on whatever your server is doing, what type of player counts you're using, how many resources you're using. But you just have to remember, with shared hosting for Zap, you're going to be paying per slot and you're going to be paying per RAM and everything. For VPS, you can have unlimited slots as long as your server hardware can support it and you're willing to keep up with the maintenance of having a VPS or a dedicated server, because they're not managed. You don't have auto installers and stuff. You do all the work, or you hire a system admin to do all the work for you. So there's a lot of different costs. And let's talk about what makes most sense for you guys watching this video. So if you would prefer to do things for free, the best option is to home host your server, and you're just going to risk having an open IP and stuff. If you're planning on doing a public server that is outside of like a friends group, for friends, I recommend home hosting. It's much cheaper. It's free. You can just port forward. But if you're having troubles port forwarding, or you're wanting to do a public server where there's people you don't know connecting to it, you should do a hosting service, whether that is Zap hosting or is VPS or a dedicated server. Is the more secure thing to do. Your IP won't be public that way. Only the server's IP will be public that way. But any big servers, I recommend VPS or dedicated hosting. Zap hosting is good. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm saying it's decent. But they do have a couple problems for me when I'm doing stuff. It's a lot more complicated than it needs to be in their dashboard and everything. But it does work perfectly fine as well. So you just have to remember, you get easier time with the Zap hosting if you're hosting a server on the cloud, or you're going to have a harder time installing everything, but then an easier time overall running your own thing on a VPS or a dedicated server. And I'm planning to do a video where I install FiveM on a VPS or dedicated server, in the coming days. But for Zap hosting, if you're looking for a web interface that's easy and everything, go for Zap. If you're looking for free, do localhost. Or if you're looking for more full-time advanced stuff, go VPS or dedicated server, depending on your needs. That would be my recommendation. So hopefully this kind of cleared it up a little bit. I'm not going to go that much more into anything, but it's just a simple video saying you can home host, Zap hosting, VPS or dedicated. If you see a host that is offering a whole auto installer system, they're probably not allowed by FiveM, but you can always ask them in the Discord. But right now, the only one in their TOS that is auto installed and advertised as FiveM servers is Zap hosting. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you don't get yourself in trouble there, and have a great rest of your day.